Hi, welcome. I'm sitting here in Israel, Eretz Israel, and we want to talk a little bit about change. Now, I'm not talking about the change in your pocket. I'm talking about change. When does a person want to go through a change? How do you do it? Why do you do it? And what are we talking about anyway? What's change? So let's start from the beginning. Why does a person want to change? Well, let's be honest. Who wants to change? I mean, my wife doesn't want me to change. She wants me to bring home the same check every month. She wants me to have the same smile on my face every day. My kids don't want me to change. They want me to come every week to their Little League games. They want me to give them money or keys to the car or whatever it is, depending on the age. They want to know where I am, what I'm doing, and expect everything that's going to happen at all times. That way they don't get bothered by it, right? And I also, what would happen if I went to the supermarket and the person behind the counter gave me a big smile, "Hi, how you doing? Oh, how you feeling today? Really? What's going on? What happened? No, stop. What do I care about that for? Just let me give you my groceries. I'll pay for it. I'll go on my way." I don't want things to change in my life. The things that I do want to change, I only want to change for the better also. So even if I do want to change something, I want to be in control of the change. But does that mean I really want to change? Maybe. Maybe I really don't want to change. Maybe I just want to stay the way I am. I know the shows that I like. I know the people that I like. I know the people I don't like. And let me just plan out my day, my week, my month, my year, exactly how I want it, and let it go smoothly. So it's true. Most people don't want to change. Most people want to just stay the same way they are and let the time run. Let the clock tick. Let me just not be bothered so much. Until what happens? Until something happens that shows us that we do have to change. What happens when I come home from a long day at work, and my wife also was at work maybe, and the kids are driving us crazy, and suddenly I just can't stand it anymore and I have to scream. But then I hurt people. Then my wife is upset. My kids are upset. I damage my relationships. And what happens if that is the thing that doesn't change? That's the thing that I can count on every Monday. That's the thing I can count on at the end of the month because I haven't made my quota. Not the check that comes from my boss to the house that my wife, kids, whoever spends, but my anger. Or what about every morning? I wake up in the morning, I hit snooze. Wake up again in 5 minutes, hit snooze again. And what if that just keeps going on? Because I don't want to get out of bed. Now, I'm sure I'm not talking about you. Maybe I'm just talking about myself. But it happens. It happens to people. It happens to all of us. So what if that's the thing that I want to change? Because that's really what's bothering me. So we've already found the first key to change. Figuring out a motivation why I want to change. Most of the time it's not something that I decided on. Most of the time it's something that just flies in my face. I get in my car one morning, the battery doesn't have any power. I can't start my car. I can't get to work. My boss is expecting me for a meeting, and suddenly I can't just continue on the path that I usually go on. I have to change. I have to get out of the car. I have to call someone. I have to face my boss. I have to face my wife. A lot of times things come and hit us in the face and say, you have to change. So that's one path of change. That's one motivator of change. Hopefully we can get past that level of change, which is the intense and uncontrolled event that comes and pushes me out of my path that I usually run in. But we get to a different level of change. A level of change where I stop and I think, when it's quiet. Not when somebody's yelling at me, not when I see my bank account, not when my kids come home and show me their grades or the teacher calls, but when I'm sitting by myself, when everything's calm. And then I can think to myself. I can think to myself about what it is that is happening in my life that I really want to change. These are pretty big topics. You know, when you walk down the street and you say hi to somebody who you see every day because you walk on the same path, and you say, "Hey, how you doing?" And by the time you finish, "How you doing?" they're already 5 feet behind you, right? That's what we're used to. We're used to those kinds of interactions. We're not necessarily used to talking about what's really bothering me. So let's try. Let's see what we can do about it. Let's see, first of all, if we can be willing to approach the subject. If we can prepare ourselves emotionally that if I change, it could be that I'm going to change in a way that somebody's not going to like. It could be that I'm not going to like the way I'm changing. It could be that I start changing and I realize that the direction I'm going isn't what I really want. So we have to really prepare ourselves for it. In any case, why should we start with all this anyway? So, if we think about it and we look at the world, most of us are involved in things that are, let's call them artificial. Computers, cell phones, cars, work, papers, right? Those things don't change. When you turn on your cell phone, you might get a message, but the cell phone isn't going to suddenly pop out at you and start screaming at you, right? The screensaver on your computer isn't going to change unless you change it. Most of the things we deal with on a daily basis are artificial. If we took the time to go out of our houses, to go out of our cars, go out of our offices, and look outside, we would see an amazing thing. Change happens all the time in our world. All the time. There's nothing that can stop it either. I'll just give you an example. The other day I was walking in a field near my house, and I saw it was mostly brown. There were some plants there somebody had planted, the farmer had planted. They were pretty small. 2 days later, just 2 days later, I walked outside on the same path, looking at the same field, and what did I see? Green. The plants had grown just tall enough that they covered the ground, so the landscape was totally different. How did that happen? I don't expect those things. That's not what happens on my cell phone, on my car, in my office, in my house. That doesn't happen. I'll tell you something even closer to home. Yourself, your body, our nails, our hair. Things change all the time. I'm going to stop in a minute, but just to leave you with an interesting story about this subject. So a rabbi that I knew once, he told me that he went into a bank one day. He was living in a place that most people are clean-shaven. He, an Orthodox rabbi, has a long beard. He was standing in line at the bank. There was a guy behind him, had a long beard too. His head was bald. He was a biker. Turned to the rabbi and he said, "Rabbi, how'd you grow such a beautiful beard?" The rabbi was really perplexed. He turned to him and said, "What do you mean? It grows by itself. I didn't do anything to it." So, let's face it, things do change. In our lives, in the pace that we run, we're trying to stop the change from happening because we want to be relaxed, we want to be calm, we don't want surprises. But there are times when we need to change because something forces us to, and there are times that we want to change because we see that the direction that we're going isn't really where we want to go. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll talk more about change, what it means, what we can do about it. And for now, let's think about it. What do we really want to change?
בפיך ובלבבך לעשותו